Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
But who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And what he do?
And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal lawyer by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and by the Minnesota State Bar Association as a criminal trial and a criminal law specialist. It means I go to court, I try cases, and I win cases. Anyway, the reason we're reacting to the stabbing death of Toby Obamseli and at the hands of Courtney Clenny. This raises a lot of issues in this case. You've got a white woman, a black man. You've got domestic violence both ways. You've got somebody who's a Instagram kind of influencer and OnlyFans model. So there's a lot of different dynamics to this. So let's talk about what happened here. There one stab wound. So we have one stab wound. We don't have multiple stab wounds. We have allegations of domestic abuse by her lawyers and by probably people on both sides. People on both sides of this equation are accusing the other one of being the abuser. She does have bruises on her legs and her arms. She has not been charged yet. I think that cops are trying. The DA is trying to figure out exactly what happened in this case and how it happened. I don't know if she gave a statement to the police. I would suspect she probably did. I know that there was a time where they handcuffed her and she was at the scene and then was taken to a hospital, like a mental hospital, because she was having a lot of trouble. Rumors had it that they had broken up or they didn't break up that day. So let's talk about the reasonableness or not reasonableness of using the knife. Let's just start there. Whenever you are in a physical confrontation with somebody, generally you can't use any more force than is necessary to repel an attack. Okay. However, if you are fearing great bodily harm or death, you can use lethal force, especially in your own home. I think in one of our most recent videos we talked about the castle doctrine. You don't have any duty to retreat if you're in your own home, and that's pretty universal. In this particular case, I believe they were in her apartment, and if he is abusing her at the time, and she's a woman, so you have a power differential there in terms of strength, generally speaking. I know I'm generalizing, but men are generally stronger than women. I did have a case last fall where my client's ex was a bodybuilder, and she could bench like 2 1/4 or whatever, and she was definitely equal. But in this case, let's just say there's a power differential, and he's much stronger than she is. He is hurting her, and she stabs him. If those are the facts, that would be a reasonable use of self-defense. However, let's say she's jealous, and she just gets pissed off and grabs a knife and just stabs him. That doesn't seem to be... When I look at this case, I don't see that. That would certainly not be justified, number one. But if she was just pissed off at him and she just wanted to stab him and kill him, generally in a rage thing like that, you're going to see a heck of a lot more than one stab wound. You're going to see repeated stabbings, and we don't have that in this case. Now you've got Obamseli's family, and they're calling for justice. She's being treated, she's getting preferential treatment, special treatment because she's white, and I can understand how they'd feel that way. I have a case right now where there was a dispute between two ladies, and both of them are black, over a firearm that the other one brought to the party, and they didn't hesitate to charge the one who's living. I do like it when prosecutors take their time to make a decision to charge, because it gives you an opportunity. Because if your client didn't flee, number one, you can say they're not a risk of flight. And number two, nothing else happens in between time. The more time that goes on, the more argument you have for a lower bail, saying that they're not a danger to the public, that they're not a risk of flight. So, but in this case, you know, I don't understand why she was never arrested, because it seems to me that there's no question that she stabbed him. The defense of self-defense is an affirmative one. You have to have a showing, some showing of self-defense. And then once you get the self-defense instruction, it's up to the state to prove that she did not act in self-defense. So there must be a reason why they have not charged her yet. And it seems to me that the family is saying that there are, and the law enforcement would certainly be in contact with the family. And so the family said charges are on their way, and that's probably from information that they've been told by law enforcement or the DA's office. And the DA's office has a victim's advocate who will talk, interface with the family, and so that the lawyers don't ever interact, generally speaking, without somebody else being present, because otherwise they become a witness. But so the family seems to think that charges are going to be coming soon. Prito is her defense lawyer, and he said this is a tragedy for all that were involved, but it was not criminal conduct. Courtney was defending herself, and the investigation will reveal exactly that. If she's got marks on her, like bruising from him striking her, but that doesn't necessarily get her off the hook, because if the use of deadly force was not reasonable, if I just slap you in the face, you can't stab me, but if I'm causing you to fear for your life, or that you're going to really hurt me, then you have to have reasonableness, and it's all about proportionality. So it's difficult for me to wrap my head around exactly what happened here, because I would think if it was just a brutal stabbing with nothing else, that she would be in custody. But according to the police version, Obamseli was killed by a single stab wound following a domestic violence incident, and his girlfriend was detained at the scene before being taken to a mental hospital. Clenny has not been named by police in connection with the incident, but her friends of Obamseli confirmed her identity to Rolling Stone, and her lawyer has since publicized, so we know it's her. Whether they had broken up just before, whether he was harassing her, whether she was jealous, all those different things come into play. And first of all, I'm going to tell you guys out there, there is never, and I'm going to get shit for saying this, but there's never good reason to put your hands on a woman. Never. I mean, okay, some weird guy is going to say, well, what if she has a bazooka and she's going to shoot me with that? Okay, then of course, if she's got a bazooka, then if you need to protect yourself, you need to protect yourself. But there is never, if you get in an argument with a woman and she's not trying to hurt you at all, there's never a fucking good reason to put your hands on a woman. Never. Never. I've told this before, whenever I have these domestic assault cases, 9 times out of 10, the guys are just pains in the asses. Nothing is ever their fault. They're cheap. She's a bitch. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you picked her. I mean, and if she's so bad, she picked you. So if you have that much animosity, move on. You don't have to put your hands on anybody. And when you have these kinds of cases, people on both sides tend to feel like they need to be advocates. So people from Obamseli's side are going to say, oh, she was the abuser. We saw her put his hands on him. And so you kind of have to discount what people that are closely associated with it, what they have to say. One person in particular in this case, which is more important than anything else, is probably the neighbor, because the neighbor told police that he saw her, Obamseli strike her, raise his hand to her right around this time that she was stabbed, or that he was stabbed. So that to me will speak more loudly than any of the other people, talking about the relationship. So we'll follow this, just like we follow the other ones. Domestic violence is a very serious thing. If you're in an abusive relationship, get the fuck out. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. Nobody should be putting their hands on you. And here's the other thing. Nobody should be calling you names, right? Nobody should belittle you. Nobody should use their position to put you in a subservient position. It should be a fucking partnership. If you have a sweetheart, life gets better if you make her happy. If you have a decent guy, life is better if you make him happy. If you both put the other person's needs first, your needs will get met. So this domestic violence stuff really bothers me. I've never once, nor would I ever raise my hand to another person. I just can't. It's not in me to hurt somebody. And once you start going down that path, oh, you're a bitch, you're a cunt, you're this, you're that. Once you start going down that path, guess what? Each time you do that, it's a little cut. It's an emotional cut. And while it may scar over, that cut's still there. You cannot take it. You can't take it back. And you get just dysfunction after dysfunction after dysfunction. Better just to be kind. And if you're so frustrated, walk away. Go for a run. Figure out something else to do. Think before you act. So that's just my relationship advice for today. I'm Bruce Rivers. This has been Criminal Lawyer Reacts, reacting to Courtney Clenny and whether she's going to get charged or not. It's quite possible she might avoid charges altogether. And so we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, spread the word, and sign up for Patreon. We're doing some pretty good work there too. Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Bruce Rivers. We'll see you next time.